The new day is on the horizon. When that new day finally dawns, it will be because of a lot of magnificent women.
Yeah, Oprah would be a lot of fun. I know her very well.
Oprah 2020. Many on the left are desperately pushing the notion of Oprah running for president. You know, the cult leader of women's issues, the old friend of Harvey Weinstein. What's perhaps most ironic is that the left said Trump was unqualified because he was a celebrity and reality TV host. But of course, Oprah is a different story. Right. I've seen this coming for a decade. They ran the village idiot, the black man, the woman. Now they run the black woman. Meanwhile, I'm just here saying, I don't care if you run a woman, a black man, Hispanic, Jew. It doesn't matter. Presidents are figureheads, put in place to calm or rile the masses, while the real leaders continue to construct the global complex behind closed doors. Well, as people are talking about Oprah running in 2020 and conditioning our brains to accept the reality, I couldn't help but remember an article I'd read in 2009, and luckily I had it archived. It was from the Wall Street Journal and was titled, "Billionaires Try to Shrink World's Population," report says. In the article, they detail a group of billionaires meeting to discuss healthcare, education, and eugenics. How cute. The group consisted of Ted Turner, George Soros, Bill Gates, David Rockefeller, Warren Buffett, Michael Bloomberg, and yes, Oprah. The event took place at Rockefeller University and was put on by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. In the meeting, all agreed with Bill Gates that the population should be peaked and curbed at 8.3 billion people. How would this be done? Well, abortions for starters. One-child policies have been brought up, much like communist China. Of course, there has been countless death and paralysis reported in India from Bill Gates' vaccines. In general, while much of the agenda isn't publicly spoken of, a goal like this would involve hundreds of millions of deaths. In fact, Bill Gates made quite the controversial statement in 2010 on the subject. Check out this clip.
First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
After all, government is history's greatest murderer and polluter. Hundreds of millions killed by government, nuclear bombs destroying Mother Earth, children buried under rubble. Yet they like to lecture us on what's morally right by stealing our money via taxation and funding the death and downfall of society. Funding corporate monopolies, pharmaceutical giants, the military-industrial complex, the destruction of individual liberties, one's right to self-responsibility rather than submission to state coercion under threat of being thrown in a cage, the hidden tax of inflation by private central banking cartels, centrally planning everything with quantitative easing madness. But I'm getting off track, back to the story. Now, I refused to get a subscription to the Wall Street Journal, so I could not finish reading the article, so here we jump to the Guardian article on the meeting. As the Guardian says, it's the most elite group in the world. It was called in response to the recent economic downturn at the time. As the article continues, and I quote, "It is really unprecedented. It is the first time a group of donors of this level of wealth has met like that behind closed doors in what is in essence a billionaires club," said Ian Wilhelm, senior writer at the Chronicle of Philanthropy magazine. Well, I debate that a little bit. I'm pretty sure that there are more billionaires at the Bilderberg Group meetings. But this article is from 2009, before the mainstream media really touched on Bilderberg. This article came out 1 month previous to Charlie Skelton's first reporting on the Bilderberg Group for The Guardian. Anyways, another hilarious line out of this article says the following. "The existence of the Good Club has struck many as a two-edged sword. On one hand, they represent a new golden age of philanthropy, harking back to the early 20th century when the likes of Rockefeller, Vanderbilt, and Carnegie became famous for their good works. Yet the reach and power of the Good Club are truly new. Its members control vast wealth, and with that wealth comes huge power that could reshape nations according to their will. If you consider monopolizing industry and controlling and destroying the wealth of millions good work, I mean, yeah, Standard Oil and the manipulation of the monetary system sure was great. Not. The article goes on to say that few doubt the good intentions of Bill and Melinda Gates. Yeah, alright then. During the meeting, each person was allowed to speak for 15 minutes at the president's house at Rockefeller University. This is in the middle of Manhattan. Apart from the push for Agenda 21-2030 policies of depopulation, there was a lot of talk about getting people to donate small amounts to global issues. One has to wonder what their definition of donation is. Perhaps on one hand voluntary due to media brainwashing, on the other hand stolen money via taxation? The meeting took place near the UN. Quite fitting. That's what the Paris Climate Agreement was all about. The government, the biggest polluter, would steal from the impoverished in order to subsidize massive corporations under the guise of saving the environment. Just like quote-unquote free healthcare is promoted in the mainstream as a way to help poor people afford treatments and bring more innovation to the markets, while in reality monopolizing a few major pharmaceutical giants, cutting competition out of the market for better, cheaper treatments, and raising the price of the medicines and treatments, creating a perpetual growth in price and subsidization. How convenient. I can see it now. You get a free electric car. You get a free electric car. Now the article continues to praise Bill Gates as some global hero who has given most of his money away to bettering the world. Let's keep in mind that he and Jeff Bezos, another government-subsidized billionaire, compete for richest person in the world. So I doubt Gates is hurting too much from the money he's giving away, considering he still has more than $90 billion. And it's been noted many times that once the power-hungry own all the money in the world, money begins to lose its luster and control becomes the next major obsession. It's a disease. Another reason why Oprah would even consider running for one of the worst jobs in the world with her nearly $3 billion fortune. To be a figurehead with her and her friend Gail sipping champagne in the Oval Office while being attacked 24/7 on TV, while the real leaders in the shadows twiddle their fingers with great grins at the continued subservience of the public as they eat themselves alive and infight while ignoring the real enemies of mankind. Oprah was seen at the meetings to simply listen and be contemplative. Yeah, because she knows nothing about politics. She just knows how to follow orders. I'm not saying Oprah's evil, though who knows, she may be. She has a massive cult following of women hanging on to her every word, but she's certainly taking part in an evil industry, and possibly considering moving up to the next big evil power complex. I don't know her intentions, but I know the reality of her actions. We can dig into Soros and Rockefeller, but we've done that a million times already. Soros funds violent revolutions, tried to get a monopoly over the internet at the United Nations, screws with global psychology through faulty leaks like the Panama Papers, which was really an agenda to get the United Nations to attempt to create a global taxation racket, which we at WHAM have been vindicated on. The list of wrongdoings go on. Rockefeller is a 200-year-long story of global manipulation of markets, monetary practices, and world leaders. Operation Condor, anyone? There are other videos that dig deep into that. Let's stick to the point here. The purpose of the meeting was to be secretive so that those in attendance could be candid. It's far more convenient for them to talk about shrinking the world population when people don't realize the extent of their agenda. Ian Wilhelm of Chronicle of Philanthropy magazine went on to say, "If they do hold more meetings, and every indication is that they will, I think people would want them to be more public. After all, they can make decisions that affect millions of people's lives." That's the key right there. It'll affect millions of people's lives. Again, the decimation of individuals making their own decisions, ruling themselves, being responsible for their own finances rather than major banks and government Ponzi's. Being responsible for their own health rather than giant pharmaceutical rackets and bans on raw milk or sugar taxes. Being responsible for their decisions as long as they're not aggressing against other free individuals, the non-aggression principle. Coercive collectivism is a disease. The disease spreads to the brains of the populace, indoctrinated to believe in rulers. A giant collective cartel with guns to their heads telling them what to do, and the public invites it. They say everything's fine on the animal farm because they've got grass to eat in the field. Therefore, it doesn't matter when the day will come when they get let off to the slaughter. Their apathy begets their demise. So when it comes to Oprah possibly running for president in 2020, remember, it's all a big game. One big reality TV show. The attempt to gain subservience within the minds of the masses. Bread and circuses as Rome burns. Nero plays his fiddle and scoffs in delight at the fall of mankind. Will you enable it? Will you infight and divide yourselves among the populace as they want you to? Or will you stand up for yourselves and free individuals to rule themselves? To break free from the paradigm for freedom? The answer comes down to you. Oprah for 2020? How about you for 2020? President of your own life. Slave master to no one. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay tuned for more from Wham! Like what you see here at Wham? Don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so overwhelmingly demonetized and censored by YouTube as the Anti-Defamation League comes in and flags all of our content as hate speech. You can also find me at Josh Sigurdson at steemit.com. That's steemit.com, the future of social media, where you get paid in the upvote of your post via Steem, the cryptocurrency. You can also find our Bitcoin address in the description and the comments below, as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And don't forget to come on down to Anarchapulco in Acapulco, Mexico in February, one of the best events of the year, and you can save money on your tickets by typing in promo code WHAM. That's WAM. We'll leave the link below for you, and until next time, don't forget to subscribe. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.